this our season launch for 2022-23. My name is Simon Godwin. I'm the Artistic Director of the Shakespeare Theatre Company. It's great to see you again on this kind of Shakespeare Hour Live type format, adapted to this slightly different purpose. I'm in New York this evening, working on the sets for King Lear, which I'm going to be telling you more about a little bit later on, and it's a great pleasure to reflect tonight on the shows that we have for you. Well, last year's season, we brought Baldwin and Brittany to our stages. We had terrific Shakespearean legends, John Douglas Thompson, of course, playing Shylock, and Ira Aldridge, and the year to come is going to include many more Shakespeare surprises and incredible stories for you to enjoy. So in this programme, which is going to last about, well, who knows, 25 minutes, we're going to be hearing from various of the artists that we're going to be welcoming to Washington. And so I have some videos to share with you. And let's take it away and get the ball rolling. Thank you very much.
My name is Leah Noble. I am the Director of Equity and Enrichment at Shakespeare Theatre Company. I am delighted to announce that we will be joining theaters across DC, Maryland, and Virginia to support our friends at Mosaic Theater for their production of the Till Trilogy. Join us on October 12th for a special Shakespeare Hour Live dedicated to this riveting production. And make sure you see the show at Mosaic Theater, showing from October 4th to November 22nd. See you there.
Hi, my name is Talene Monahan, and I'm so excited for my play Jane Eyre to come to Shakespeare Theatre this winter. I'm also in the play. I play Anne Hathaway. Not that one. Anne Hathaway, who was also Shakespeare's wife.
Talene, this is the Shakespeare Theatre audience. They know who Anne Hathaway was.
This is Michael Urie.
They know that too.
He plays Shakespeare.
I'm the lead character.
Hello, I'm Ryan Spahn. I play Frankie. I'm not the lead, but I will steal the show.
Actually, neither of you is the lead.
I am.
This is Amelia Workman.
I'm Jane Eyre.
We can't wait to see you this winter.
Goodness, I think Michael is almost as excited about coming back as we are at having him back. Michael Urie and Jane Eyre coming up later in the season. Well, I'm delighted that I'm going to be directing not one but two productions this year as part of the season. They're both by William Shakespeare. The first is Much Ado About Nothing, the production that I was going to be directing, my goodness me, pre-pandemic. It's been delayed since then, but it's finally coming to the stage of the Harmon Hall. Kate Jennings-Grant, the wonderful actress, is playing Beatrice, and I'm really delighted to let you all know that she's going to be joined by Rick Holmes, a wonderful Broadway actor that's been in Spamalot. He's been in Matilda. He's an astonishing, funny, generous, open-hearted actor who's known Kate Jennings-Grant for a long time. They already have a terrific chemistry, and I think they're going to be quite amazing on stage together. He'll be joining Ed Gero, of course, that many of you know and love, Michael Kevin Darnell, Keelan Darrell Jones, in a really spectacular cast in the newsroom setting of Much Ado About Nothing, a setting that has never been seen before on any stage, as far as I can tell, be it in America or England. I'm following Much Ado About Nothing with King Lear, starring the mighty Patrick Page, that many of you will have seen from his remarkable All the Devils Are Here, and he's on stage in the very city where I am now every night in Hadestown, in which he is, of course, extraordinary. I'm also delighted to share the news that our beloved local actor Craig Wallace is going to be joining the cast as Gloucester. That's not on the website, you've heard it here first, and it's just another addition as we mount this searing, moving play, which is going to bring a tear to all of you. I think certainly it's going to be very, very moving and striking. It's a kind of Everest of a play, and it's one that, again, I've never directed before, and I'm really excited about finally tackling here in Washington for all of you. Actually, talking of Patrick Page, I think we have a video from Patrick talking about how he is feeling about taking on the part. Over to you, Patrick.
Hello, it's Patrick Page. I'm in my dressing room at the Walter Kerr Theater on Broadway, and I'm made up and dressed to play Hades in Hadestown, which I'll be doing until I come to Washington to play the title part in King Lear. And I can't tell you how excited I am to come back to DC to play this particular role under the direction of Simon Godwin. King Lear is my favorite play of Shakespeare's. I think it's his greatest play. It's a play I've been studying since I was 20 years old. And so that's at least 40 years of study. And it's something that I've spent my life preparing for. So I'm very thrilled to be able to come to DC, where I find the audiences to be so intelligent and kind and discerning, and to work with one of the world's most renowned Shakespearean directors. This is a real dream come true for me, and I want to thank Simon and the Shakespeare Theatre Company for making it happen. See you soon.
Well, thank you very much, Patrick, and we can't wait to welcome you to Washington to deliver your King Lear. Now, of course, if questions emerge about any of the shows that we're talking about this evening, please feel free to put them into the chat and we'll try and answer them. Britt is going to be joining us, so I'm going to introduce her in a moment to help us do that. But before that, let me share with you how the season finishes. We round out with one very intense production that began in London at the National Theatre, and the other is very, very joyful and magical, and it's a new musical following, in a way, in the steps of Once Upon a One More Time. It's a musical that we believe is bound to take on bigger stages even than our own. It's full of joy and energy, and the two shows are The Jungle and Goddess, and here's a trailer for them now.
This is The Jungle. It's an unofficial refugee and migrants camp.
I didn't really have words for quite a long time. I walked with Joe for about a couple of hours and found the most incredible and at the same time most awful situation happening right here, an hour from Paris and an hour from King's Cross.
There are many, many different nationalities of people gathered here. Sudanese, Iraqi, Syrian, Iranian, Afghanistan, and there's a sense of community despite differences.
By November in the jungle, I could walk from Sudan through Palestine and Syria. Pop into a Pakistani cafe on Oxford Street near Egypt.
The cast is amazing. It's a huge cast, and it's a very multi-talented cast, and it's a cast that is drawn from all corners of the world. It was a place of great desperation and chaos, but it also was a place of hope in many ways. There were many different people living side by side who were very different kinds of people, but somehow everybody found a way to get along, even in that desperation. And that's an amazing story. The audience will come into that. They'll come into this bustling cafe and they will experience what people experienced when they went into those places in the jungle.
When does a place become home?
Well, there we are. The Jungle, Goddess, two very different shows, two contemporary classics, two stories of magnitude, two audacious stories. Very much our mission as we go forward, the reinvigorated Shakespeare Theatre Company here in Washington. Now, talking of reinvigoration, you will have seen that STC has a new logo. We have a new logo, we have a new website, we have a new visual identity, and I wanted just to spend some time now talking a little bit about that. And to help me do so, I'd like to introduce STC's Associate Director of Communications, Brittany Proudfoot-Ginder. Hi, Brittany, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm well. So Brittany, you've been part of a big team helping to roll out this new identity. It's been created and designed by the design company Pentagram that has worked with the Public Theatre in New York and the National Gallery in Washington. They're based in London and in America in New York. How's it been for you? Have you enjoyed the whole process?
Oh, it's definitely been a big process. There's so many things that are new and exciting. Personally, I'm very happy with how it's looking so far. And so far, we've actually received some really lovely feedback as well from our various audience members. I'd like to share a little bit of that with you if you'd like.
Yeah,
awesome. All right, so we have a couple of anonymous statements. Fresh and fun. Love the new logo. Creative and very cool. I quite agree. And we also had a few people that gave us their names. So we have Dorothy. Dorothy writes, stunning, modern, in your face, in a good way, which I think that's a really great way of saying it. Also from Daniel, the logo is a sleek representation of the artistic side of theater. I love how the design allows for the subtle inclusion of colors to complement various ad compositions. Very astute comment. I absolutely agree. So thank you everyone who's been sending in your thoughts and letting us know how you're doing, what you think about it. We love seeing the same love for this that we have for it. But we've also received a few questions. So I've got a couple of questions from prior to tonight, and please feel free to add some more questions in the chat if you have any about the rebrand, about STC in general, about the wonderful season that we are getting. We're so excited to start. So Simon, are you ready for question number one?
Yes, please. Fire away.
All right. Okay, so our first question, why rebrand? Was this an expensive thing for us to be doing right now?
Yeah, thank you for that question, and thanks for sharing those lovely comments. It's really great to hear that people are enjoying this new look. Well, I think that during the pandemic, it was a great chance for us to take stock of who we were and what we wanted to do and what we wanted to say. And it felt like a great time for us to really rethink how we were reaching out to audiences. Were we the cutting edge organization that we seek to be in our visual identity? And so we took the question to Pentagram, and that's why they helped us not only with our new logo, but they also of course revamped the website. So it's actually easier to find out about the shows and crucially, to book your ticket for the shows. So we wanted to become more user-friendly, we wanted to become more reflective of who we were. And I think as a new artistic director, it's always very meaningful to build on the success of your past with something invigorating for the future. And we were also fortunate enough that a couple who have a long-standing relationship with the theatre really heard our wish to perform this kind of magic trick to transform, and they very generously made that possible. So it was not something that we had to take out of our budget for the year. It was an additional gift that made this transformation possible.
Fabulous. So far, we don't have any other questions in the chat, so please feel free to add them. And you answered one of the questions, why Pentagram? It's a great company, very collaborative. So another quick question, what does the new logo mean?
Well, in thinking about the logo with Pentagram, we were trying to grapple with one of our kind of key foundations is that we use the past to shed light on the present. We take essentially plays written in history and retool them or rework them so that they speak to the status quo with unique power and force. So what we decided to do for the logo was to take two fonts, one, as it were, classic, older, and one new, contemporary, and put them together. So you're actually looking at the past and present simultaneously. And the other thing that Pentagram managed to do is to make this logo transparent. So you see through the logo to the work. And that's always been my dream as director, is to create productions that help you see the story, see the play, see the characters, rather than necessarily see the director. Other directors are concerned with that, and they can be extraordinary, but transparency has been a value of mine, I guess, ever since I started doing plays. So we have a transparent logo.
Awesome. Well, no questions yet, so I'm going to ask you a fun one.
Oh, please,
Is
goodness.
there
Yes.
a show that you are most excited for? I know that's a big question to ask. I don't know that I could answer it myself. But is there one you're most excited for this season coming up?
Well, so many of these plays they're so different under the umbrella of audacious stories or vital stories audaciously shared. I can't help but feel excited that much about nothing because it's been in preparation for such a long time. But also I think about the reading that we did of King Lear and how even just in a room with actors and the script with Patrick was already so moving. And I also think about attending the workshop of Goddess in New York when they had just started bringing the story alive with these remarkable singers and actors and feeling the force of that. So I've been lucky enough to glimpse the kind of nascent kind of beginnings of these projects, and already they have tremendous force. So I feel excited about a great deal, if that's not too much of a cop-out of an answer.
I don't think so. You answered it better than I ever could have. So we did get a couple of quick questions from the chat. First one, can you talk a little bit about the co-production with The Jungle with Woolly Mammoth? Has something like this happened before?
Yes, well, talking of plays that I've already had a glimpse of, I was fortunate enough to see The Jungle when it came to New York, in fact, and was overwhelmed by how powerful it was, how political it was, as well as being an extraordinarily potent story shared in a reconstruction of this tented theatre that they created originally in Calais as part of the original immigration camp. So it's an installation, it's an immersive theatre event where we're transforming the Harmon into that very tent, so you'll experience it in the round immersively. Now, Woolly Mammoth is a remarkable theatre in Washington. It's run by an amazing artistic director in Maria, and they felt similarly to us that this was a vital piece of theatre that needed to be shared in the nation's capital. STC, as far as I know, have never collaborated with Woolly Mammoth before, and so the idea of bringing these two forces together to stage this work, as it were, under the same umbrella was very, very appealing to me and to all the staff of STC. And I think audiences as well. And I think that it's a chance not only to do the production, but it's a chance to run lots of additional supporting events around it, be they seminars, be they discussions, so we can really lean into the question of what this story and what these lives mean today in America as well as in Europe. So yes, I think it's going to be some kind of enormous event in Washington. I'm delighted to be doing it with the Woolly Mammoth.
Awesome. So one quick question and one more a little bit bigger question. So what are your hopes for this first post-pandemic season? We've all been through a lot and theater has shifted quite dramatically. So what are you looking forward to with this season?
Well, I think that the Jungle is interesting because it's very much a partnership between a lot of artists, and in this case, especially with Woolly Mammoth, that we're bringing it together to Washington. And partnerships is something that I think all theatres in the world are looking to nurture and build on post-pandemic, because we've all realised that we need each other. We need partners, but we also need partnerships between us as staff, and we need partnerships with you, our audience. I think audiences have, in some cases, lost the habit of going to the theatre in a way that they used to. So we've got to make the offer and the experience of coming back to STC really impactful, meaningful, relevant, vital, inclusive, diverse, so that all of our established audiences come back, but critically, we also find ways of bringing new audiences in, because we've all realised that we need the next generation of theatregoers to be in our spaces to protect the long-term health of the theatre. So it seems like all of those things, and I just want people to have fun. I want you to come to the theatre and feel relaxed and be transported and have a euphoric experience.
Perfect. So we are running a little low on time, so the last question that we have is, why are you in New York right now?
Yes, good. Well, because Dan Soul, who designed the Amen Corner, so for those of you that saw the show know his work, his studio is in New York, and so for me it's so great to actually travel to a designer's studio, because then you can really engage with the model, you can see all the moving parts, you can try things, you can evolve. So it's to do the set of King Lear that I'm working with Dan on, and we're grappling with, where do we set King Lear in today's world? What does it mean today? And how do we find that balance of past and present? So I've been with him, and I'm going to do another session with him tomorrow, and then I'm going to come back to Washington.
That is all the questions we've received, so thank you, Simon, for answering.
Well, it's been so wonderful being back in dialogue with all of you, and I'm thrilled that you're on this call today, everyone that is, and here's to celebrating our exhilarating 22-23 season, which is going to be so filled with adventures, and I can't wait to welcome you back with our first show of the season, The Notebooks of Leonardo da Vinci, directed, of course, by the legendary Mary Zimmerman. See you there.